Oh man, what am I getting myself into with this video? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel, and to keep this intro short, I asked you guys to ask me questions regarding controversial parenting topics, and I'm gonna go through them and answer them the best that I can. Oh, okay, yes, we're starting off with a bang. Spanking your children or not? Do you spank your children or not? This one is kind of hard to answer, I'm not gonna lie. We've gone back and forth with this, my husband and I. We spent a long time like giving the kids warnings, trying the timeout thing, trying the counting thing, which we still kind of do those things also. And then if none of those things worked, we would tell them like, hey, if you don't do this, you're gonna get spanked. And it seemed like at the time that that was the only thing that would work. And to be honest, I've kind of gone against all of that. As time has gone on, I've realized like, I mean, how are we supposed to teach our children not to hit, to be nice to others if we are spanking them? Look, I am not judging you if you spank your kids. I get it. I know it's hard and we still struggle with it. We do still end up doing it. But like the point I'm trying to make is we're trying to get away from all of that. It just seems like nothing else works. We're still trying to figure out the discipline method that works best for us. And I personally don't like that I get angry at them, and that's when I decide I want to spank them. Like for me, those two things should never go together. So I don't like the way that I am when I get that way. So that's a huge reason why I want to get away from doing that to them. Again, I'm not judging you if you do that with your kids. Everyone parents differently and it's fine. But for me personally, I actually kind of wish that we didn't have to spank our kids. Like I kind of wish that was never a thing to begin with, because I don't really like doing it, and we're doing our best to get away from it. Next topic is high childcare costs. I completely 100% agree that the childcare prices are outrageous. And I'm over here thinking like, well, if daycare workers and childcare workers and babysitters get paid like tons and tons of money, but being a stay-at-home mom isn't work, tell me how that logic is. And then people will argue, oh, but they're trained professionals, they studied for this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you are a mother. You are on the job training every single day of your life with no breaks. Yeah, sure, you get nap time sometimes. That's not always guaranteed. It is 24/7 on the job, and we get nothing, zero. But childcare itself is expensive, and the only way that moms who get no breaks, no days off, can have a day off or some time to herself is to pay someone else to give her a day off. I'm sorry, but this logic is outrageous to me, but I swear I can make a whole video on that topic alone. But yes, I don't agree with high childcare costs. I agree that you should pay somebody when it comes to childcare, but like paying someone your entire paycheck just for daycare is insane to me, and I don't think that's right. Okay, this is a good question. How much time do you spend with your child where no technology is involved? And then how much time do you spend with your child when one or the other or both of you are on a device of any kind? So when the kids are awake, unless they're having quiet time, I'm with them 24/7, whether we are using technology or not. And screen time actually popped up a lot on these topics. So I know screen time is a huge thing. I wish that my kids were the kind of kids who didn't have to have limited screen time. I know the thing is like if you don't limit their screen time, then they're not going to care about it as much, but that's just not the case with my son. I think it could be with my daughter, but not my son, because he could be on it all day long on his tablet or watching TV, and we just have to limit him or it will get out of control. And then there's also the thing where sometimes it's really hard to take away the screen time because it's the one time they're sitting still, leaving you alone and kind of like behaving and you're not really like playing actively with them when you're all sitting in front of a TV together, whether you're with them or not. You could be sitting right next to them and not be paying attention to them at all because you're looking at your phone, they're watching TV, things like that. So I mean, for me personally, I do try to limit their screen time. We tend to watch it in the mornings, like as the day's getting going, we all eat breakfast together and watch a little bit of TV and just like have a little bit of chill time to kind of ease into our morning. But other than that, I'm trying to take away a lot of their screen time. We've kind of gotten carried away with it lately. We've been watching it like during lunch, and then there's sometimes we'll watch it during dinner, and I don't want mealtime to be associated with the TV either. I want it to be more of a family time. And then they also get their tablets upstairs during quiet time. So it's like a lot of screen time throughout the day, and we're trying to take a lot of that away, just trying to figure out how to do that, the best way to go about that. But it does seem like when they have their tablets upstairs, they're not really using them as much. They rather like like jump around and play with their toys up there. So that's good, but they've come to rely on it in a sense. So when they don't have it, they'll whine and complain for it. So I don't know how this is gonna go, but I would like to eventually only have like one period of time during the day where we watch TV, and that's it. And I know that I could do better with this also and not be on my phone and kind of be an example for them throughout the day. So I've been trying to get better about staying off of my phone also. But yeah, it's just one of those things that is really hard because sometimes there are days where you just want to sit in front of the TV and not do anything. And if your kids get used to that, it becomes a problem. And I do believe that it kind of has to do with behavioral issues and make them kind of act out a little bit more when they have too much screen time. I do firmly believe that. But I also think there are benefits to watching screen time because they do learn a lot from their tablets and things like that. So in small doses, I think it's okay, but I really am trying to get away from watching it like multiple times throughout the day. The next topic is spending time with your kids when you have multiple kids. This is so hard. Like as a mom of two, and they are so close in age, but they are also so different. Like my son is extremely clingy. He always wants to be on me. He wants my attention full time. And my husband and I kind of like treat him like the baby in a sense, even though he's only 14 months apart from his older sister. And I think Noelle senses that. I think she feels like she has to act out in order to get any type of attention. And we notice that. And it's just really hard to kind of balance spending equal amounts of time with each of them. When one of them wants to do something, the other one wants to do something else. They never want to do the same thing, I feel like. So it's hard to kind of like divide up your attention. And I wish I had better advice to give, but it's just something that we're still navigating also. And it's really hard. It's hard to divide up your time between two kids who want to do completely different things, and one who's super attached and one who wants to be more independent but also wants you to play with her every now and then. So it's just like trying to find that balance is really hard. So I get it if you're struggling with that. I guess the best advice I can give is that things will get better, and just try to be aware of how you're treating each kid. If one feels like you're favoring the other more than them, it's going to show in their behavior. So I know it's hard, but just try to do the best you can with spending equal amounts of time with both of them. But I know it's hard. Like it's definitely like a challenge every day to make sure that each one of them gets the attention that they want from you. Okay, the next topic is bed sharing. For me personally, I need my space. I do not like anybody touching me, anybody making too much noise. I need quiet. I need to put my headphones in and listen to music or a YouTube video to fall asleep. I do not want someone kicking me or fussing every second. And I mean, when you're with them all day, nighttime is when it's your time finally to just relax and hope that the kids go to bed in their own room so you can just have that alone time. I know that everyone's different, everyone's wired differently. Some people are more than happy to share beds with their kids, and honestly, that's fine. That's fine. If that's what you want to do, no judgment. I just know that I do not want to share a bed ever with my kids. Now, I know I said that, but there have been a couple of times when Noelle was sick that we would let her sleep in the bed with us, and that's different. That's just like once in a blue moon or whatever when she's not feeling well, that's fine. But like on any normal night, no, she is sleeping in her own bed or in her brother's room. They usually sleep in the same room right now, which is fine. They have each other, that's perfect, but you're not sleeping in my bed. And I know that a lot of people do that when they have babies, like early on they'll bed share, and I mean, that's fine. You guys know what's best for your babies and what's best for you as a family, so that's fine. I know that for the first like couple of weeks, we had to sleep like right next to our newborn babies because that's the only way they would sleep. So I get that. But when they were like a month and on, we had them like sleep in their crib or sleep in the mama-roo or, you know, whatever, so that they would get used to sleeping in their own space and not next to you, because if you let it linger too long, it's going to be harder to break that habit. So it's, again, it's totally fine if you want to bed share with your kids however long you want, but I do not do that, and that idea just never appealed to me. Okay, the next topic is sleep training. I am all for sleep training. Like, it saved our lives, honestly. I know that there's a lot of different like sleep training methods out there, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say, like I probably will in every topic that I share, that it's okay if you do this or if you don't do this. You don't have to agree with me on everything that I do, and I don't have to agree with you on everything that you do. It's okay to have different opinions. We can all still be friends, it's fine. Anyway, sleep training for us, when we realized that they didn't have to eat through the night anymore, was amazing. It was amazing to go back to getting full nights of sleep, or at least a good like 5-6 hours at a time. That was way better than like 2 or 3 hours at a time, maybe even less. So for us, for our mental health, for our baby's health, we felt that it was necessary to sleep train worked well for us. The kids slept through the night at around 5-6 months. I think Caleb was actually a little sooner than that, but regardless, it was great. Your baby knows when they need to eat. They will tell you. So don't freak out if they end up sleeping through the night on their own. They're not gonna starve. It's okay. But yeah, I do think it's important for them to learn how to self-soothe. It helps them with their sleeping later on in their life, and selfishly, I just wanted to sleep too, so it's a win-win for everybody. Next topic, thoughts on breastfeeding beyond a year. That's great if you can do that. I could not breastfeed for that long, and it's not like out of choice. Like my supply ran out. I could not keep up for more than a few months at a time. I just dried up basically. So I didn't have the option of breastfeeding beyond a year. I did have the option of formula feeding beyond a year, but I chose not to do that. But if you can breastfeed beyond a year, that's fine. Do what you feel is best for you and your baby. Like, I don't have a problem with it at all. Now, if you get to like 4, that's a little different, but we're not gonna get into that. Next question, do you think homeschooling is a good idea? Yeah, if you can do it. I can't. I feel really bad. I'm just not the kind of parent who is like super hands-on and just has a plan for every aspect of the day and like can come up with lesson plans or print out lesson plans and just have it all ready every day. I'm just not that kind of person. I feel bad about it, but I just feel so much better about someone else teaching my children. I'm just not that confident in myself to get that done. But with that being said, I don't love the public school system either, so we are not planning on having our kids go to a public school. We don't know if we're going to be able to afford private school in the future, but that's an option if we can. If not, we're going to try to get them into a charter school that's local to us, but going to do everything we can to not have them go to public school. I think I would probably homeschool or have like a homeschool group over public school, but we'll get to that when we get to that. My kids are only 3 and 2 right now, and we're not going to really be too concerned about the school system until they get to like middle school. So we have a little bit of time to figure all of that out. The next topic is natural birth versus C-sections. I feel like it's kind of out of your control sometimes to have C-sections, so I don't really think this is super controversial because not everyone can have a natural birth, or I guess like a vaginal birth. I don't know if she meant natural versus like epidural, because that's completely different. I personally would have loved to have an epidural in my first pregnancy or my first delivery, but I just didn't have that option. I got to the hospital too late and ended up having a natural birth regardless of what I wanted. And the second time I got induced and I had an epidural and it was glorious. So I know that everyone reacts differently to the epidural. I actually could still feel my legs pretty well. I could move them, but everything else was numb. So it was like the perfect scenario for me. But I can see why it might be scary for others to have it. I get it. I get that everyone feels differently about like the medical things. And going back to like C-section, I understand if it's like an emergency C-section or a scheduled C-section because you'd already had one before. I don't think I would on purpose like schedule a C-section for my first baby if I knew I didn't have to, but no judgment if you do. I just know it's a little bit more painful recovery and it's just different. But if that's what you want, that's fine. Like, I don't think it's a problem as long as baby is safe and comes into the world safely. I don't really care what you do with your delivery. Okay. Now we're getting into the controversial, really controversial things because of this day and age. And I don't think I'm gonna say certain words because I don't want my video to get flagged or whatever by YouTube and get taken down or whatever. So I'm gonna put words on the screen so that these words just don't come out of my mouth. Do you allow your baby to have, and your thoughts of letting them play with? All right, so here's the thing. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, this current illness that you get has a preventative shot that does not take away the illness. It does not prevent you from getting the illness and all of that. So for me, that is not because, well, I guess not now because they keep changing it because of what's going on right now. But if you look up the definition of that word, it basically tells you that it prevents you from getting whatever it is that you're getting the shot to prevent, if that makes sense. And when you say that the flu shot is actually called that's a lie. Plain and simple, that is not the definition of that word. You can fight me on it all you want, it's fine, but the same thing goes with this illness. It is not supposed to be called that. And it was originally called that because they wanted you to believe that this shot would prevent you from getting it at all. That's how all of this started, and that is not the true definition of that word. It's a preventative. It prevents you from getting stronger symptoms. Sure, it decreases your chance of getting super sick from it or dying, sure, but it is not that word. Okay, done with that rant. So going back to the question, do I allow my baby to have those? Yes, I do, because they actually are those. And I feel like more people have questioned their child getting those because of what's been going on in the world. Things can get kind of confusing. So our kids have always had all of their things, but not anything else, if that makes sense. And my husband and I haven't either. You can take that as you will. And my thoughts of letting them play with other kids who haven't either, and that's fine. Honestly, if you've gotten your shots and all of that, then you've done your part. You don't have to worry about anybody else who hasn't, because if yours works, then why are you worried about other people? I'm not gonna judge anybody who gets those. Not at all. Even the one that's most talked about in this day and age. I don't care if you've gotten it or not. Like, that's fine. You do you. It's just become this huge thing where suddenly everyone cares about what you've gotten or why you haven't gotten it if you haven't. And I feel like I could talk about this all day long, but I'm not. I'm gonna end it here and just say, I don't care whether or not you've gotten yours. I don't care whether or not your kids get theirs. We do our part. You do what's best for you and your babies. And none of this should ever be forced on anybody for any reason whatsoever. Okay, next question. This kind of goes along with what I've already said. It says, what style of discipline do you use? I feel the step/timeout works for me when they were little. All right, so like I said earlier, we're still trying to figure out the best method that works for us. Everybody is all about gentle parenting these days, and that is great. Honestly, if I could gentle parent and if that worked on my kids, I would use it because that is ideal. My kids just don't respond to gentle parenting at all. They just look at me like I'm insane. So we're still trying to figure that out. Lately, we've been doing a responsibility chart for Noelle, and she'll get like stars for each task or like behavior that she does well, and it'll turn into like kind of an allowance. We'll add up her stars at the end of the week and she can pick out a small prize or save up her money to get a bigger prize. So that seems to be working right now. We're still trying to establish that. She gets sad when she doesn't get her stars and gets excited when she does. So it's kind of like sticking a little bit. But other than that, we're still trying to figure it out. And especially with Caleb, he's only 2. Well, he's basically 2.5 now, but he doesn't respond well to like any discipline. So we're still trying to figure that out with him too. Okay, the next topic is stay at home versus working. I think that everyone should do what they feel is best. I personally stay at home. We were able to make it work to where I could. I know not everyone like has that opportunity to do that, but we were lucky and blessed enough to make it work to where I could stay at home with the kids, and it's been great. It's been hard, but it's what's worked for us. I know that for working moms, they have their own challenges too. They might feel guilty for working and not being able to spend time with the kids, but personally, I think you're a rock star if you stay at home. I think you're a rock star if you go to work. We're all rock stars, and motherhood is hard, but we're all gonna get through it together. Whether you're staying at home or you're working, you can do what you gotta do, you know? Next question is formula versus breastfeeding, which I kind of already talked about. I think fed is best. I'm a firm believer in that. I'm not gonna judge anyone for using formula. Even if they can breastfeed, I'm not gonna judge you. If you don't wanna breastfeed, you don't have to. I breastfed for as long as I could, which ended up only being like a few months, and then I had no choice but to formula feed, and my kids are fine. So do what you feel is best, which seems to be the theme of this video. Next question, Montessori toys versus plastic toys. I like Montessori toys, I really do. I think I've liked them more lately, now that I've like seen more of them. They not only look pretty, but they're better for your kids' minds, and you don't have to change batteries, which I hate doing, but I have both, honestly. I have plastic battery operated toys and Montessori toys, and the kids like them. I don't know. In an ideal world, I'd have a pretty looking playroom with all Montessori wooden pretty looking toys, but that's just not the case, and it's fine. I don't judge you based on what toys you give your kids. Next question, kids eat completely healthy or not? I mean, in an ideal world, the kids would eat healthy options all day long, but unfortunately that's just not the case around here. We probably get a little bit too much sugar some days, or like salty snacks. I don't cook. I know I probably should, but I just don't enjoy it at all. It's not something I could ever get into. I have to really be in the mood to like cook something, so it's kind of hard for me to figure out lunch options for the kids every day, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to get better and find more healthy options. And then there is like the after mealtime dessert thing that we get. It's usually pretty small, but like if they eat all their meals, they get dessert, you know, that kind of thing. And I'm trying, you guys, I'm trying. I want to give them more healthy things, but then there's also the fact that my daughter eats like no vegetables at all, and then hardly any fruit. She just doesn't enjoy it, and we always put like a vegetable vegetable or fruit on her plate like during dinner time and stuff, but she just won't touch it. So we're doing our best, but to be honest, it's just not always that healthy around here. But with all that being said, I think I'm done with these controversial questions. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's all be nice in the comments, please. I can just feel like the enemies coming at me right now. I still love you if you have a different opinion than me. But thanks you guys for sitting through this and watching me ramble, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. Talking words do not come naturally to me. So like and subscribe.
If I could take you up in boom, 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 tell me I'm the only one that you know. Life could be a dream, sweetheart.